I'm gonna go over my paid ad strategy. I called it 32x because that's what I got before, but most people usually don't get this around. But this entire training is gonna be everything I know on ads, and I kind of, I won't say struggled, but I tried to make a niche now because I know everyone's in like different situations. Some of you guys are running ads, some of you guys are not, some of you guys have offers, some of you guys are operating offers. So I think everyone's in like different boats. So I try to keep it as like granular as possible, but there's still gonna be a lot of value, a lot of high level stuff. And obviously if you guys have questions about everything, you guys can ask me at the end. So let us start with the results because the level of information I'm gonna share is responsible for me spending and like being accumulated over, I think like 4 million in ad spend. I think it's a lot more. This is just one ad account. I think it's about 6-ish million. And when I first started ads, my first ever time for doing it for myself, personally, I've been able to do it for guys like obviously Nero, guys like, you know, Kushi, make them like hundreds of thousands of dollars in this whole space. And I think the biggest thing that I've learned is ads is not really that complicated, but I want to really ask you guys something. How many of you guys actually run ads here? You run ads, Luke runs ads, Sue runs ads, Sam runs ads, not a lot of people. How many of you guys would like to run ads? That's the question. Okay, a couple more hands, couple guys not really there. Okay, so end of this presentation, I want you guys to feel stupid for not running ads. I'm sorry. If you guys are not doing it and you have money and you have a proven offer, you're actually just stupid because it's one of the easiest ways to just add extra revenue to your business. But most importantly, I want to show you guys how to run them profitably because people have this misconception with ads where it's like, if I spend money, like it's just going to disappear and I'm not going to make any money back. And it's like, I have to put like 10K down, 15K down, 20K down before I see results. That's just all beliefs. Because if you do it properly and you have correct strategy on how to actually do it, you're going to get really far. So I'm going to be going over a couple things. The number one thing that you need to focus on when you need to run profitable ads and the mistakes that most people actually make. Second thing I want to go over is I want to break down a 30x ROAS creative. So a creative that literally exploded and it kind of like shifted my entire paradigms of how I run ads and how I go about creating creatives, how I go about like writing these types of things and how I go about doing it for my clients and also teaching it. And then I'm going to go over how to infinitely script 5 to 10x consistently creatives, ROAS creatives consistently. And then I'm going to have some quick fire gems on like the 3 years of me just running a bunch of info ads. All right, guys. So ads is not that complicated, guys. You're essentially just paying for eyeballs. I hate pushing this thing myself, bro, on my days. Do we have like a remote? No? All right. You're essentially just paying for targeted eyeballs, which is the easiest way to scale. Imagine if like your exact ICP, like the exact type of person you want, you could pay for them to see your stuff every single day. That's basically what ads are. People overcomplicate it, but basically that's what you're doing. So I just kind of went over that. But a lot of people have this misconception when it comes to running ads, because every time someone's like, hey, I want to run ads, the first question they'll ask me is like, yo, bro, what creative should I try? What type of funnel should I use? What type of like sales rep should I hire? All these types of like granular information, but this is all the wrong way to look at it. Because when you look at it from the lens of like the things you should be doing, you miss what's going on in front of you, which is like the main important point that causes a lot of people to not make a lot of money with their ads. And that's what I've noticed, because I see a lot of people start with these issues where it's like their ads don't work. Maybe suddenly like, you know, Facebook's like, oh, it's like just putting their ads down. They spend like, let's say 10, 15 grand and it's like they bring the wrong audience, like people booking calls and they're just wasting time. Like how many of you guys have had experiences where you hop on an ad lead and you're just like, bro, like why are you even here in the first place, bro? Like why are you here? I'm sure Sue, you've had that situation. Have you had that before?
Yeah.
Bro, what was the worst one?
Bro, it was like a 60-year-old mom, bro.
This guy sells to coaches and consultants, not 60-year-old moms. So nobody wants that. And the best example I can give to this is like people always ask these questions, but it's like this is like asking me why cake isn't baking, when the oven isn't even turned on. Because paid ads is honestly a methodological process. I think I said the word right. My English is not that great, but anyways, it works just like a conveyor belt. For it to work very well, everything from the start has to be planned. So this guy over here needs to make sure that everything coming here is going to work, because this is where you guys are at. You guys are asking about creatives, funnels, setters, closers, all these types of like, sometimes bro asking me like, yo, what's the color I need to make my landing page to convert? But I'm like, bro, what the fuck are you asking me, bro? Doesn't make any sense. So there's a set of rules of paid ads that you need to follow in order for them to actually do really well. And these are the rules that I'm going to go over. The first one is the market and the problem. Most of you guys have this figured out, so I'm not going to really bother on this. Number two, which is the most important thing, I'm going to stress this because I spent so much money trying to really understand this. And I burned so much money by not understanding market awareness. What this basically means is how much they know about you and the problem that you're trying to solve. Third thing is persona, whether it's a cold or a warm audience. Cold, obviously, people who don't know you. Warm, people who know you. There's loads of guys that could retarget a bunch of guys who know them, and they just don't do it. but that's one of the things. The fourth thing is the creative. This is what people actually see. This is what people are actually paying attention to. And this is where a lot of people actually, funny enough, they start here and they forget all of this stuff, which I'm going to go into because trust me, guys, if you can understand this, you will make so much money. And then the fourth thing is the funnel. This is basically how the audience is like pushed into your sales process. So sales process to me could be anything. It could be hopping on calls. It could be sending them to a landing page where it could just add a cart, like buy something. It could then just be like talking on the phone. Sales process could mean anything. Sales process to me is just how you portray value. It doesn't really have to be a call. It can be a landing page. It can be a VSL. It can be whatever. So most people, like I said, they forget the first two exist, market and awareness. And you might be like, yeah, I've learned about this before, but trust me, you probably don't know it to the extreme lengths of detail I'm about to go into. Because guys, when I say this, it will literally be the difference between you spending 2K on ads and making 2K back. It will be the difference between spending 2K and making 30K. If you can understand this to the level that I'm gonna show you guys. Because I had this graphic that I told ChatGPT to create. It's so stupid because I told it to make France here and it put France in fucking Africa. I don't know what it's doing. So what I was trying to portray here is if you set your airplane, let's say an airplane is going to, let's say like France, where it was intended to go, not here, but let's say you set it just 7 degrees off, you can end up in fucking Zimbabwe, bro. No one wants to go there. Literally. So, and that's basically how it is with the marketing problems. So marketing problems are straightforward. This is just who you're helping and what you're solving. Like I said, most of you guys probably know this. I'm not going to dwell on this too much. But market awareness is where a lot of people get this wrong. Super, super wrong. Market awareness is the only thing that you need to think about when you're running your ads because it will single-handedly be the difference between having an unprofitable campaign or a profitable campaign. A 2x ROAS or a 30x ROAS. So I'm going to go over the 5 stages of awareness. This is just a graphic. Most of you guys will know this, but like I said, I'm going to go into more detail about why this is super important. The first stage is people who just don't know who you are. They just don't care. It's like, let's say you have an offer teaching people how to make money with AI, for example. There are guys that don't even know they can make money with AI. There are guys that don't even really know if they want to make money at all. So it's like, if you're running an ad like that, you're going after super unaware people that just most likely don't really care. Problem where people know they have a problem that they need to solve, but they aren't aware of the specific solution. So a person like this could be like, an example of a niche like this could be manifestation, for example. Someone could be like, hey, I know my business isn't printed, but I just don't know why. I know I should be making more money, I just don't know why. I know my business is inconsistent, I just don't know why. This is like a problem-aware market. Solution-aware, this is where majority of competitive markets are at. Typically like the coaching consultant space is around here, where it's like they know there's a solution to the problem, but they just don't know the products to solve it. So these are guys where it's like, hey, I know I need an appointment setter, but it's like, what type of appointment setter do I need? These are guys where it's like, hey, I know I need a VA, but what type of VA do I need? Product-aware people are people who know the products. So they know the actual solution. So they know a setter is going to help them scale, but they just don't know which guy I'm going to get the setter from. So these are the guys where a lot of markets are around here, where it's like, hey, I know you're a coach, I know you're a coach, I know you're a coach, but who's the best one? These are where people are at. And then most of where these guys are just dickheads, bro. Honestly, like they're just the worst people. It's like they just know everything, but they just don't buy. And these are the guys where you have to convince them with like certain types of tricks and plays, which I'm going to go over. So one thing I want you guys to understand, every market eventually gets to the point where it's over here. The only difference is just the amount of people that are in there. Because I know there's a lot of people that have this graph where it's like, hey, there's 3% of buyers that are like super ready to buy. I think, honestly, it's a spectrum depending on whatever niche you're actually in. And I'll give you a reason why. So your strategy for ads is going to highly depend on where your market is at right now and who you're trying to solve, what problem you're trying to solve, and where the market is at right now. So remember, I talk about the problem, which most of you guys will have, which most times you can't really change, and then the awareness of that problem that you're trying to solve. So for example, if let's say you were trying to help people in the coaching consulting space, you are not going to be talking to people who are unaware because you're helping someone that's a business owner. A business owner is going to be aware of these things and they would have been in this space for a very long time. So it's extremely hard for them to not know what an appointment center is or what something is. There will be people that are like that, but that's not majority of the people you're trying to sell to. So that's the difference between like that. So how do you know where your market is at? There's a few ways. Because like I said, if you know where your market is at, ads, creatives, funnels, everything just becomes super easy. Generally, your market will show you the signs of its awareness level. The key things that you're looking for are two things. You're looking for behaviors and you're looking for metrics, okay? So, for example, if you're in a problem-aware market, which is more like newer niches, these are what the behaviors are gonna look like. They're gonna complain about pain points. They're gonna resonate with symptoms. They're gonna comment things like, damn, I've been struggling with this. I just didn't know, you blew my mind. Wow, give me a paradigm shift. For example, manifestation. Stuck at 20K a month. I don't know why. I feel tired all the time, not productive at all. My content isn't working. I feel inconsistent. These are niches and offer where people kind of know what the problems are, but they don't really know what the solution is. I would imagine not everyone has a niche like that, but there are some niches that are like that. So you have to ask yourself, where is my market at right now? That's an example. Metrics, pain point posts to get high saves. So anytime you talk about pain point, something that relates to people, people resonate with that. They're like, damn, like you're actually talking about the same thing I've been going through right now. I didn't know. You gave me such a paradigm shift. People DM you, but they ask you like super vague questions. Like I've seen crazy DMs of like people asking like stupid stuff and like the manifestation niche, or like different niches they're problem aware. They just don't know what they're talking about. They just ask the random question. They consume a lot of content. These are niches where it's like you can get a shit ton of views in them, but it's like they just don't convert because it's like they're really trying to make peace of what's going on in the content. Is this making sense, guys? You guys getting this? Yeah. Perfect. Cool. An example of market like this, like I said, manifestation. People know they have problems. They just don't know what it is. They have asked very vague questions. Another example is solution-aware market. So this is where majority of people will probably be in. So there's behaviors and metrics that look something like this. They will compare options. They'll message you in the DMs. Yo, what's the best setup? Should I make top of funnel content? Should I make middle of funnel content? What's the best way to scale to 30K a month? How many outbounds should I do? Oh, what's my email open rate? What should it be? What's the difference between this model and this model? What's the difference between profile visit ads? What's the difference between funnel ads? These are guys that like, they know there are solutions out there, but they're trying to figure out what's the best solution for me. There's a lot of people that are in this bracket, okay? And metrics, and this is why this does really well in this space, educational breakdowns. I'm sure anytime you guys give freebies, there's like 100 guys in your DMs and you're like, yes, give me that shit. Because it's like, they know that they have problems, they just want the solutions to it. Framework posts, anytime you go over a framework, they get really well. They click links, they watch trainings, they love consuming free stuff. They spend longer in your DMs asking actual detailed questions, not just vague shit like, hey, like, I don't know what's going on. These are the types of people that are typically more competitive niches. An example of a niche like this is the coaching and consulting space. Like there's a lot of people that are in that niche that are trying to like obviously make stuff work. And there's different ways you can kind of check market research. The first way is looking at your sales scores. How aware are people of the problem that you're solving? When you talk to someone, does it sound like you're speaking Chinese to them or does it sound like you're speaking English? Just like, do they actually understand what you're trying to say? And do you have to like break yourself down a little bit more easier? First thing. Your competition. Does your competition have thousands and thousands of case studies? Like if you go a guy like say for example Cole Gordon, hundreds of case studies of the exact same coach and consultant. So it's hard to assume that that niche would be extremely unaware if you're trying to target the type of people that make money. Another thing, do the conversations you have with your clients and emotions, are they about emotions? Or are they about high level questions? The guys come to you being like, hey, what's the profile visit ad funnel that I need to run? How many ad spends do I need to put? What's the link list? Is that what they're asking you in DMs? Or they're asking you that, hey, bro, like, I feel like shit, I don't know what to do. What type of questions are they asking you? This is gonna give you a general idea of what your market awareness is. So now, once you understand that, and I want you guys to spend time to actually think about it. Based on what I said, I wanna ask you guys something. Kyle, your offer, what would you say your market awareness is right now?
It's not as in depth as it could be.
Cool. That's a good thing. Kale, what about you guys? For the offer that you're running, the trauma offer, what would you say the market awareness is at?
Very problem aware, not solution aware.
Very problem aware. What's the offer again?
Like
Trauma healing.
Trauma healing. Okay, cool. Let me ask. Val, what would you say your market's at, teaching people point selling?
I mean, it's B2C, so it's kind of big fun. Like a lot of guys
Just want to make money? Cool. That's perfect. You don't have to change that, by the way. That's your offer. That's cool. So now, once you know what the awareness level is, you have the cheat code of making everything work itself. So this is where it gets crazy. So if your market is unaware, where let's say this is very rare. This is like B1 copy and stuff. Like let's say, for example, you're teaching someone like how to make money with AI, for example. Typically, anytime there's like a new fancy offer, they always start around here. They're like, hey, I don't really know what this is. I could be making more money. I could be doing better in life. I just don't really know. So you need to make ads and funnels that revolve around emotional storytelling. Talking about, hey, I struggled with money before, blah, 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 blah. I found this business model. It changed my life. Talk about pain points. I was stagnated. I had low income. I was working in McDonald's. I was making no money. I was stressed out my life. I was working 10 to 15-hour days every single day. And these are the types of funnels and ads that do well in this market. So why the hell will you run unaware ads for solution-aware people? This is what a lot of people do. They'll be like, all right, cool. I'm going to sell to, let's say, for example, coaches, consultants. I'm going to talk about how I was broke and how I was doing all these things before, and someone's going to resonate with my story. You might get one person that resonates, but if the market only cares about how you can help them and your solution and why it's better, these ads will never convert. They just wouldn't work. And that's the big mistake I see a lot of people do. For example, what type of funnels do well? Webinar funnels, educational stories, storytelling ads, long ass VSLs, challenge funnels. All of these things work because these guys are super unaware. So you have to give them education. You have to give them a reason to actually care. For people that are in solution aware market, they don't need a reason to care. They just need to know, are you better than the other guy or should I go with this guy? That's all they care about, okay? So, because they all provide education. So, if your market is problem aware, which is where majority of people are, I know something is wrong, but I don't know what the solution is. So, for example, the manifestation thing I was talking about. Perfect. You need to make ads and funnels that revolve around explaining what the problems are and the solutions, which is what we did for one of the ads I'm going to show you guys a little bit later, because that's what allowed me to be like, all right, cool, this ad's going to do really well because I know the market awareness extremely well. You need to make pain point focused content, talk about pain points, stagnation, low income, inconsistent months, replacing themselves, working out, stress, all these types of things, other things that people hate doing. You have to talk about that because that's going to bring them in. But for example, if you're unaware, you have to show them about the opportunity. You have to make it more spicy. So that's why you see all these AI ads, they're just talking about opportunity, blah, blah, blah. And when you look at these ads and we're like, I'm never buy this shit. This is fucking a scam, bro. It's like an AI agency, but this is not going to make you 10K a month. But they're not selling to you. They're selling to the guys that are working at McDonald's and just like, oh, my life could be better. And that's why those ads work. I'm sure you guys see them. Guys that make like fucking 2-3 mil a month selling AI agencies. And you're like, how is that possible? What the fuck are these guys doing? They're not selling to you guys because you guys are smart. You're not unaware people, but they're selling to unaware people. And that's the difference. And that's why these people make a lot of money. Same thing with guys like, for example, Charlie Morgan. Why do you think his ads do so well? On a podcast, he said like almost like 80% of his revenue was coming from ads because he's going after people that know what the problems are. When has Charlie Morgan said, here's my Lambo, guys. This is how much I'm making, guys. Charlie Morgan starts off saying, you want to sign more clients? This is how I can help you sign more clients. Solution aware and most aware ads for the type of person, and it works extremely well. So that's the reason why he's cracking it. If Charlie Morgan was making unaware ads talking about an opportunity of starting an agency, do you think he's going to get guys paying him 9 to 15K? You guys tell me. Is that going to happen?
That'd be like 2 to 3K.
Exactly. But there's nothing wrong with that. But that's when you have to know your niche and know your awareness level. So what type of ads and funnels do well for problem-aware markets? Webinars still do well because, like I said, you need to give them education about the problem. You need to hone it down in. Storytelling ads, long video ads, challenge funnels, because they give the education and they resonate with the problems that these guys will have. So that way, because that's the only language that they can actually speak. You have to speak their language, okay? So solution aware, my favorite guy, because this is where all the money's at. Guys that know what their problems are, they know that they're solutions, but they don't know what's right for me. What types of ads should you run for these guys? You need to make ads and funnels revolving around explaining the wrong way of doing things and showing them your specific mechanism and why it's better than anything else. If you are trying to target someone that is aware about appointment setters, aware about profile visit ads, aware about all these types of things, you can't speak to them like they're 5 years old. You can't. It's not gonna work. You need to make ads going around, hey, this is a method that worked for me. I'm gonna show you how it can work for you, even though you have X amount of followers, X amount of saves, and you don't need to have a lot of money to get started. That's what's going to resonate with a guy like this because they're solution aware. They're not thinking like retards. It's like, for example, if I came to you and I was, hey guys, yo, Kyle, you see my Lambo back there? I know you want that. You're going to look at me and be like, is this guy retarded? That's literally what you're going to say because that's not what you want. You know what you need. You're going to ask me, yo, what ads should I run? What things should I run? So I need to make ads around that because that's what's going to work. You get what I mean? So this is where you get into the realm of show breakdowns, case studies, results, things to show competency, superiority, things that show you that you're better than the rest. These are what you need to be doing in these types of niches because it works extremely well. And I see the big reason why a lot of people tank with ads is because they run the wrong creatives for the wrong awareness level. Like I said, the example before with me saying like, hey, here's my Lambo to a solution-aware market. It's not going to work. If you run problem-aware creatives for a solution-aware market, explain to me how that's going to work. Explain to me how telling someone, hey, I know you have this problem, is going to work for someone that already knows they have the problem. It's just never going to happen. Explain to me how when you run most aware creatives for guys who know they need solutions, they know what the solutions are, but they're ready to buy, and you're talking about why your solution is the best. How's that going to work for an unaware market? If I'm trying to, let's say, attract people with AI agency, and I'm talking about how my AI agency is offer is the best offer compared to everyone else. These guys don't even know what an AI agency is. It's like they're just not gonna understand it. So that's why you have to make those type of ads with Lambo, because that's the language they speak. So that's why people do the things that they do, because they're going off the specific markets. And that's the thing that confuses people. And I see it, the big mistake is people see these ads from other people making 2-3 mil a month, 500K a month, and they're like, okay, cool. If this guy's doing it, going off the AI agencies, surely if I copy his ads, copy his funnel, copy his copywriting, and I just put it in my own words, put it in my niche that's going off the sophisticated market, it's surely gonna work, right? And that's when people spend 10K and they make no money. Simple. They just don't go back to the principles. And it's funny because at the start, I was going over the 4 levels. And it's funny how every single question everyone asks me every time they want to get ads is creatives, funnels, things they don't even ask me about the first 2. And you see how greatly they influence the results that I just showed you guys. It's insane. So, once you...
Ask a quick question.
Yeah.
Is this kind of same for organic content as well?
Similar, but you can kind of maneuver it. This is not as the same because with ads, it's like you're going after a specific type of person. With organic, you have the chance to go after anyone, basically. But with ads, it's like when you know the awareness, what you do in the creative, which is I'm going to show you, you can target that exact type of person, basically. So if you wanted, let's say, for example, you make an organic video, going over like a awareness level for someone. Let's say you're trying to attract, let me see a number. So you're trying to attract 6-figure earners, for example. And you make an organic video going off the 6-figure earners. It could go to anyone. It could go to the guy working at McDonald's. They're not a 6-figure earner. Ads can do that as well too, but the volume of the amount of people that exactly what you want is higher. If you spend, let's say, 2K and you get 50,000 impressions, there's a high chance that 25,000 of them actually are 6-figure earners, depending on what you put in the actual creative and how you structure it. So that's the main difference. I won't say that they're the exact same. Any other questions before I get into the juicy stuff with the creatives? But this is all making sense though, right guys? Perfect, perfect. So big thing I want you guys to take away from, know your awareness level. So perfect, it's making sense. Now I'm gonna go over how I created creatives after the market has awareness. Once I know what your market awareness is, because that's the first thing I always do. Anytime I work with someone, recently, I ask myself, based on this person's niche, based on what the offer is, what is the market awareness right now? Like I want to understand that. Once I understand that, everything else is easy. Like that's honestly the hardest part. Because once I know what the awareness level is, I know what the creatives are going to be, I know what the funnel is going to be, I know what the seller flow is going to be, I know all that shit. So once I know that, how do I establish more creatives? So next most important thing is the creatives, because now there's this new update that's been going around. Everyone's been talking about Andromeda, where it's like, oh my God, my ads are dying because this new update came out. But really and truly, I just think it made Facebook better because now it actually goes after exactly who you want a lot better now. So your creatives have to work a lot better because they're fatigued faster. So what fatigue means is, if let's say you spend 30K, depending on like the type of frequency, the type of audience you're going after, it might run out of people that could actually resonate with that. And then you have to restart the ads and make a new creative straight away. So they fatigue a lot faster. They get tired a lot faster. So if your ad is doing well, let's say, for example, last update, it could run for 6 months. Now it can run for 3 months because Facebook wants you to be making new shit. So it's not a bad thing, just playing the game differently. The creative is going to speak exactly to who you want it to speak to. So I'm going to show you interesting, very creative. So this was back in 2024 that we ran this creative, and someone's going to have a quick smile. You already know, bro. Back in the day when we were running this up. So I'm going to play the video. Hopefully this plays. Hope the sound is working. There's no sound still. You'll have to put the volume up. Let me see if I can change the speakers here. Is it this one, Samsung? Try it. Wait, hold up. Oh, I put it mute. Why is it muted?
He felt like no matter
there we
what
go.
he did, what would 5.4 million in 4 weeks do for you?
Just play. I'm just watching that.
This is my client Tony, and for 7 years straight, he was stuck at a revenue level of 2 million per year in business. And because of this, he became demoralized. He felt like no matter what he did, no matter how much effort he put in, his results were just stuck in the same cycle. I showed him one insanely simple framework, and with that, he was able to secure a contract for his business worth 5.4 million. Now, what this framework will do, it will help you align yourself on the mental and spiritual plane, because right now, you've done everything that you can. and you put in all the work. So if you want this insanely simple framework, DM me, Mike. Now to elaborate further on what I mean, we made no changes to his business, no changes. The only change was purely a frequency shift. And just so you know, I'm not another bullshit manifestation woo-woo guy. Here's another client transformation. This is Valerie. Valerie began to resent her business. She was working hard, overwhelmed, and she just felt like her business wasn't producing enough money that she wanted. And when I showed her this one insanely simple framework, she was able to close £85,000 in 1 week worth of business. £85,000 in 1 week worth of business. Well, take Russell. After our first call where I showed him this one insanely simple framework, he was able to close a $180,000 deal for his construction company. So if you want this one insanely
And then it just
simple...
goes to the CTA. So I want to ask you randomly, what do you think when you see this ad? What comes to your mind? What do you think?
2 CTAs.
Yeah? Okay, cool. Why do you think I have 2 CTAs?
Because you can capture people who are going to drop off early doors, and then you capture people who drop off.
I actually have 3. 1 in 30 seconds, 1 in the middle, 1 at the end. So yeah, what do you think when you see it?
It's a curiosity base that you open with what would an extra 5 million do for your business, and instantly qualify people who have like a big business. Like if I say someone who makes 1K, what would an extra 5 million do for you? It's not gonna work for him, but that's gonna only qualify people who have like 6-figure business.
Cool. So why do you think I did it that way instead of me saying?
It's historic audience, right?
Perfect. What do you think? What do you think, Kyle, when you see this ad? What goes through your mind?
The CTA at the start is really good. Because most people don't make it to the end, so.
Perfect. Isaac, what do you think?
You disarm them thinking it's going to take a lot of work because you said it's easy. It's just one mental shift.
Perfect. So the main thing I wanted to go over here, guys, going back to this over here, going back to my lovely presentation. How do I make this full screen? Sure, it's going away. Anyways. All right, we're here now. So main thing I wanted to go over, guys, is I knew that this niche, people know what their problems are, but they just don't know what the solution is. So if I told Nero, like, hey, bro, you need to start talking about frequency. You need to start talking about, discipline, self-belief, emotion. You talk about like the 3 planes of existence. People are like, what are you talking about, bro? I don't know what that is, bro. But we spoke their language, and I'll explain why. So what will 5.4 million in 4 weeks do for your business? This is only going to resonate with people that are high level. Like I said, with Andromeda, the creatives are going to go over exactly who you're trying to target. When you're running ads, and let's say you want to go over someone that's a 6-figure earner, you can call them a 6-figure earner. You can say, hey, like 6-figure earners, blah, blah, but you need to talk about things that they would actually want, things that they would actually care about, something that's not going to relate to someone. So for example, I see a big mistake with a lot of people when they want to make ads to target exactly what they want, and they try to go after, they say a desire. So they say like, desire, this worked well here, but I usually don't do desire. But let's say, for example, I'm trying to go over 6-figure earners, and I say a desire of like, I know you want to consistently make 6 figures. It's like, you will go after people who everyone wants to obviously make 6 figures if they're not making it. The McDonald's guy wants to make 6 figures. The guy who's making 5K a month wants to make 6 figures. The guy who's making 1K a month wants to make 6 figures. The guy who's a janitor wants to make 6 figures. Everyone wants to make 6 figures. But it's like, if you will go after everyone, it's like you dilute the quality of your ads. But if I talk about pain points that only someone that is making that experiences, which we're gonna go over, it's only gonna resonate with someone like that. So if I say, hey, your business is, you're moving, you're signing clients, but you're not at that point where you're making 6 figures a month, that's not gonna resonate with someone that's working at McDonald's. They're just gonna click off the ads, goes through it. But if someone's actually in that situation, it works better. So that's why I like to hook with pain. I did desires here and it still worked, but typically I'll hook with pain. And then here, because of this, he came and he was stuck at a revenue of 2 million per month. So that's obviously a pain point over there. Because of this, he became demoralized, talking more about the pain, the emotion, because like I said, these guys are problem aware. They know what the emotions are. They know what the problems are. So that's all they're thinking about. So he became demoralized. That's a feeling that someone's gonna actually have. And no matter whatever effort he put in, his results are just stuck in the same cycle. This will attract people that are problem aware, which is the awareness level of this market at the time of making this video. Because I knew these guys are not solution aware at all. These guys have no idea what's going on. It's like, if you talk about like all the specific stuff about the things that he teaches, they're just never gonna understand it. So I went after the pain points and they did really well. Second thing, now to elaborate further, I made no business changes. So the Psalms, and they're like, okay, no business changes. This was purely a frequency shift. So what this does is it gets them curious to be like, okay, cool. What is this? But we don't say what it is. There's no point of explaining this. Notice how we just spoke about the points about what he teaches to get them curious, but we didn't really explain what it actually is. And then here we go into another transformation. What we're basically trying to do is we're trying to go after the emotions. Like I said, resent her business. How many guys who are only someone that's making a lot of money is gonna actually start resenting their business, or someone that's actually trying to get to a point where they're making a lot of money and they have like unconscious things holding them down. Working hard, overwhelmed. McDonald's guy who doesn't have a business doesn't believe they're working hard. They're like, I'm working hard on my job, but not my business. So they're just gonna click off at this point. Producing enough money that she wanted. Emotion. That's the only thing these guys care about in a problem-aware market. Problem-aware. And then I showed her one simple framework, one simple truth, because that's what they care about. And then boom, the result. Boom. So see how we don't explain what the framework is. No one knows what the fuck we're talking about. It's just the curiosity. And that's what people want. So this is, and the big problem I see, this is so funny. I see people, they go copy these ads, but they're in different awareness levels. And it pisses me off. And they're like, bro, your ad creator didn't work, bro. I'm like, bro, why did you copy it? It doesn't make any sense. And it's like, oh, he was able to close $108,000 for his deal. Boom, construction company, high level stuff. So if you want this same simple framework, DM me. And that's what works, guys. When you know your awareness level, the creatives become easy. The funnel becomes easy. The messaging becomes easy. The conversations become easy. It just seems like light. That's how I was able to spend $800 and make back $13K my first week of running ads, because I just knew. I was like, these guys that I'm trying to talk, they don't care about, hey, the problems, whatever. They just know, hey, I know I need team, I need setters, I need this. What can you do for me? So I just showed them case studies, results, testimonials, and I performed. That's how I did. That's why, if you guys see my ads, whenever I ever spoke about value, when do I ever tell you, hey, this is the exact framework that you need to use to scale to 100K? I don't talk about that shit. No one cares. I'm just like, hey, I'm the best. This are my results. Here's my clients. And that's getting the people who are most aware and also solution aware, because that's all they care about at that point. They just want to know, are you the best? Are you better than what I'm doing? So that's why you notice my ads, there's no value in the ads. And I don't need to put any value in them. So it's like, why would I go to a guy that's making, with an AI agency that's running up like 3 mil a month, and I'm like, okay, cool, he's making 3 mil a month, let me just copy his ad, it's gonna work. It's not gonna work for me. It's not gonna work. No, doesn't work like that. So, and then as you can see the results, like, this was crazy. I think this is when I had the actual paradigm shift, 2024. We spent £7. We worked 5 calls. We spent £58 and he got 7.5K. This is when he was charging lower prices, man, back in the day. A tear runs down my eyes, but I could have afforded it back then, bro. But nah, I have no words. And then boom, we raised the ad spend. We spent £58 and we made back, this is like around 10K USD. Because we just knew exactly who we were targeting, bro. And that's why those simple results work well for me. I just knew. I didn't need to spend 10,000 to make back 13K. I spent 800. And then now, I think overall with this ad last month, I think I spent like around 3-ish K and I made back like 25, not doing much. The month where I did 8,000, around 40 of that was ads and I spent 3K. Because I just knew. You gonna ask a question?
Yeah. I just want to challenge it a little bit though, because in
Yeah.
terms of when you're actually coming to scale ads,
Yeah.
so obviously whenever I launch a campaign, straight away we'll have insane ROAS.
Yeah, of course.
You want to give us the highest quality lead.
Yeah.
But then when it goes to scaling, obviously you're not going to keep at that scale in terms of like 58 spends 10K back.
Yeah.
So how do you think that?
Yeah, so like I've been running this ad, the same ad for like 4 or 5 months. Haven't had a month where I made less than 20K from the ad, basically. And the reason why it works well is because you're always like switching up and you're always testing and trying to go after different awareness levels. So it's like you're not married to your awareness level. The offer and what you're selling is what's kind of like tied to the awareness level, but you can switch that up depending on how you want to do it. So let's say, for example, you're like, all right, cool, I want to go after a new market or test this new awareness level. Let's see if it works. That's when you get that effect of like a new brush, a new boom. But what most people do, and I'm guilty of this as well because I've done it really well, is when one ad works really well at scale, then you just leave it and you let it run for like 3-4-ish months. But then if you're like, all right, cool, let's test a new awareness level and you just put in a separate funnel, separate thing, you can get that exact same insane results. So especially now with this new updates, it's like you just have to be constantly doing that now. And obviously I know that's a hassle if you're working with like other people and let's say they're the ones making the creatives, it's an issue. But if you're the one making the creatives and it's you, that's how you can consistently get that ROAS. You see what I'm trying to say? Does that kind of make sense now?
Yeah.
Cool. What are you gonna say?
Earlier in the conversation, you said the most aware people are dickheads, basically.
Yeah.
They don't buy, right?
No, that they don't buy. I exaggerated to be
And
fair.
my question to you is, how would you convert a super aware person? Because to a degree, a super aware person is also highly nurtured. And they could buy it instantly if they think of the guy.
Just case studies and results. That's all they care about. Case studies and results. Those guys, when you're playing that game, you have to play the association game and you also have to play the case studies and results game, and you just have to play the I'm the best game. So you would notice there's markets where the super most aware people like kind of reside in that, let's say coaching consultant space. Guys like Cole Gordon, guys like Charlie Morgan. You've seen their ads. Just case study after case study after case study after case study. If you've seen that other guy, I think his name's Brian, the real Brian Mark. I've seen his ads. I've never seen this guy make a value video before. Like I checked it, I was looking at his videos, it's just all testimonials. This guy's doing like 400, 500K a month. All of his ads, every single ad is just a testimonial. There's another guy, Will Nelson, running ads. I think he's at like 500K a month. Tell me where you see value on his page. Like, explain where you see value on his page.
Yeah, it's literally organically gives value in the ads, it's just straight testimonial. That's all you should be focusing on. Because at that point, people were just like, oh, wow, I know this guy. Oh, I've seen this guy before. Oh, this guy worked with him. Oh, this guy did this with him. And then that's how they buy. Because those people, it's like they've been through they're in everyone's DMs, but they've seen every video, they've seen every offer, they've hopped in every sales call. So if they're going to hop in a sales call, they actually buy. So that's the reason why I'm not too averse to those leads, because if they hop on a call with you, it's after doing immense amount of research and they're actually hopping on a call to either make a decision or they're hopping on a call to compare you with someone else. But the most unaware people, they just hop on a call. They don't even know what's going on, bro. So it's like, that's when you get those types of people hopping on the calls. Does kind of make sense? Any questions here? We're rolling. Cool. So now moving into 2026 to winning ads, you just need to honestly follow this framework every single time you have a client or if you're doing it for yourself. Number one, establish your market and the problem. The market and the problem you're solving. Most of you guys already have that. Establish the market awareness level. Most important thing, guys. It will take you a couple of time, but trust me, it's the most important thing. Based off that, establish a funnel that's going to work for this market awareness level. You can't start here and go here. It doesn't work. This is what most people do. They start with the creatives on the funnel. It just doesn't work. You have to start here. Then this becomes easy because then you just know naturally. And then based off that, you just script the creatives for your awareness level. And every single time I work with someone, single time I talk with someone now, I follow this framework. And that's why typically the results always work really well anytime I do these types of ads and people don't need to spend a lot of money. So you see how it all comes together like a conveyor belt, like I spoke about at the start of the presentation. You have your market that starts there, market awareness, audience, creatives, sales process, and then money appears. It doesn't start from here to here. It doesn't start from here to here. It doesn't even start from here to here. It's from here all the way down. You guys can take pictures if you want to take pictures, but every single time you're thinking about ads, this is how you need to go about it. If you do it this way, it's extremely hard for it to just not work. Cool. And there's multiple creatives that I use depending on what level I'm at. So for example, my program that most of you guys are in, some of you guys are not, which is chill. Anyways, I have a bunch of stuff in here that goes over like creatives and stuff like that. So what I'm doing is I'm just giving away like all of the creatives that I use for my structure. So for example, anytime there's a problem-aware creative, there's a structure that I use every single time. Anytime there's solution-aware creatives, people that know the offer or direct ads or like most aware ads, there's a creative structure that I use. This is the creative structures. And you guys don't need to take screenshots because I'll just give all of this for you for free. Like it's gonna be in the group chat. I'll just put the link. So there's about probably 30 different structures that I use for each thing. And you guys can have them all for free to use for yourself. So now you guys have all the source. So I'm giving you all the creative stuff for free in the mastermind resources. So in the group chat, it will be there around about towards the end of the webinar, not webinar, mastermind. There's no CTA, guys, I promise. And if you want to create infinite creatives, the last thing I wanted to go over is this info creative framework, because a lot of people have been having issues with Andromeda killing them and them just dying, bro. But this is the way that it works now. So basically what it is that you now have to start making new formats anytime you have something that works. So let's say, for example, your video creatives have been doing really well. You can't just keep spamming video creatives every single time. Otherwise, it's Facebook oh, I know what you're trying to do. It's not going to work. That's what they're like. But what you need to start doing is you need to start changing your formats, your angles, your persona, your awareness. Like I said, this can be changed depending on what the offer and the market is. So you start here. Let's say, for example, you want to go after coaches, consultants. You can start with a video ad. How do you want to hook this? You can start with pain. You can start with desire. You can start with proof. You can start with comparisons. So for example, based on problem and product aware, you can start with either proof, desire, or pain. So for example, an example of pain is, if you've been making 50K, if you've been stuck under 50K a month and you've been stressed about where your next client is going to come from, let me show you something. That's like a hook. If you've been dealing with clients hopping on calls and them just wasting your time, unqualified leads every single day, let me show you something. That could be like a pain angle. Desire angle could be talking about the result. What would 5 million do for your business? What would 6 million do for your business? What would 100K do for your business? I don't really like using desire, but you can use desire, it still works. Proof. Here's a guy that went from 0 to 50K. Here's a guy that was exactly just like you, struggling, broke, depressed, no hus, everything. Like, this is how he was struggling, and I helped him get to the next level. That's a proof thing. And then comparison. This is where this person was before. This is after. This is before you use my framework. This is after you use my framework. Before you bought my fitness coaching program, after you bought my fitness coaching program. So that's what you can do for your angles to start the videos and kind of like make your ads. Persona. Here's where you can kind of go specifically on, it kind of ties into your awareness level. Buyer persona is someone that's like coming in, basically being like, all right, cool, I'm ready to purchase someone. You can kind of be a little bit more direct with this person. Skeptic. Here's where you're giving them a little bit more proof. So for example, with that ad I showed you before, that's more of a skeptic type of person. Someone that's like, I don't know, you seem a bit dodgy, bro. You look a bit woo-woo. So you can give them a little bit more proof results and just show them more things. That's why in the ad we give like 3 case studies. So they can't just be one-off. They're like, okay, surely there must be something going on. If these guys are going through the same emotion I'm experiencing and they're getting this result, there's something going on. There's something. So skeptic. And then code could just be like, hey, I just want to show you it's possible. I just want to show you what it is. And then the awareness level kind of ties into it. So then you can be like problem aware, unaware, aware, product aware, most aware. So it just goes like this. So you start with video, what your angle is, the persona, and then the product. And then you can just spit out a bunch of creatives like that. So let's say, for example, you wanted to create you can create like 16 different variations of creatives basically with this. So you can start with a UGC ad. UGC, someone else recording the ad for you. You can start here, and then it can be like a proof. So what that could be is, let's say someone recording an ad for you, you using it as an ad. So your clients, I risk that shit, bro. That shit work. Like UGC, you start here, they make a video for you saying, yo, this guy's the guy, work with him. Proof, it goes after a skeptic type of person because they go over the emotion, and it goes over into the product aware type of person and most aware type of person. That's how you make an ad like that. Same thing with a carousel. You can then just go over, like let's say before and afters, for example, if you're in fitness. You're trying to go after people who are skeptical, code, your copy can be skeptical, your copy can be code, your copy can be for a buyer. You change that persona and then you tie that in with your awareness level and then you're pretty much good to go. So that's what it looks like on a higher level. And this is supposed to be a Q&A. I don't know why I put quick fire bonus tips. I must have been trolling. But that's pretty much it, guys. Any questions?
Well, see with the testimonials.
Yeah.
Obviously, you could do what Nero done with just the evidence of the results that he allowed them to achieve, or like an actual video of them talking about what he did for them.
Yeah.
Have you seen a difference in how more effective is what Nero done, or like them actually talking about it together?
In most skeptical markets, it does better. So, for example, we have this one guy that spent $600 and made 27K back with a mobility offer. And the winning ad that he ran was him just showing his clients doing kicks. So all I told him to do was just be like, hey, show your clients doing head kicks and show your clients doing this and show them like how it doesn't matter what their age is, they know. Because those people are they were kind of problem aware, but they don't really know what the issue was. So we just went after those guys and it just worked really well. So you can try that. Generally, it works better the higher the awareness level is. Generally, if someone else does the ad for you, it actually works in your favor. But if it's lower, if you just say the result and what you did for someone else, it tends to work really well. So yeah. Yo, what's good, Isaac?
I think it would be good if you share how the sales process should be congruent with the market awareness that you were talking
Yeah, I actually didn't go over it. I didn't think I was gonna have enough time, so I think I might leave that to the GOAT Hassan, bro. He might go crazy. But I'll give you some context about that. So, for example, if you are selling more of an unaware, problem-aware type of market, you are mainly kind of, I would say, quote unquote, selling the dream in a way. You're kind of showing them like the highs of it. You're showing them why the problems are worse than they actually think they are. So for example, that's why on sales calls, they're asking you like, damn, what would your mom feel like if you didn't make 20K a month, bro? What would she feel like? What would she tell you when you go to sleep? They do shit like that. But if you're talking to a guy that's like most aware and he hops in a sales call and you tell him like, yo, bro, how'd your mom feel if you don't make 100K a month? He's gonna be like, what the fuck are you talking about? But it's like, doesn't work. So your sales process will have to be different in the sense of like, you might need to use a little bit more emotion, more desire, more storytelling to kind of get them through the line. So that's why the funnel would have to be more of the lines of showing them the highs of what it could look like, showing them like, the results, the case studies, the lifestyle. So those tend to work well. And then your sales guys or your sales process, your sellers have to be mainly talking about the emotion, more so of everything. They're going to be talking about, hey man, like, what would it feel like, bro? Like, I know you've been trying to make this for a while. Like, how long have you been stuck? Damn, you've been stuck making 2K at McDonald's? That's crazy, bro. Like, shit, couldn't be me though. It's like, it's like shit like that. So it's like a bunch of stuff that they get them on the call and they're like hopping on the call because they're desperate. They have pain and it's like they want to actually purchase something. But if I'm talking to a solution aware guy on a sales call and they've gone through my phone and they've seen my ads, I'm not asking them like, yo, bro, how does it feel to be only making 15K a month? Because shit, that's sticky, man. That's crazy. I'm just gonna ask them, okay, cool. How long have you been trying to solve this problem? And they're gonna be like, yeah, I've been trying to do this. What have you tried? Cool. What worked? What didn't work? Cool. When you tried this, what did you do? Did you look for other help? Did you ask this other person? Okay. If we can give you a solution, would it actually work for your situation? Cool. Perfect. If we have that solution for you ready, are you ready to invest today? If it actually makes sense for your business right now. Those are the questions that you need to ask and they purchase. It's like you don't need to do the emotional bullshit because they don't care. They're on the call for a reason. You get what I'm trying to say? So that's how it differentiates depending on what type of offer it is. So yeah. Let's go.
What's your opinion on testing multiple static ads and then once you find a winning one, turning that angle basically into a script?
Testing what exactly?
It's like basically image ads, and then once you find winning angle on that, turning it into a script.
I don't usually do that because it's like, once you know the awareness, you kind of know what you're trying to do anyways. So it's more so trying to figure out what's going to get you the most clicks and most results. So it's like, typically what people do that usually for is if they're trying to test out different awareness levels. They're trying to see what the market responds to more. But if you kind of know what you're trying to do straight away, you can kind of just go in and just test what you want to test and then just make it a creative that you actually want to use and make videos around it. That does work. But I use that more for like awareness, like if you're trying to figure out awareness. But if you kind of know what you're trying to do, which you should, now that you have this information about awareness, you're gonna know exactly what you're trying to do. You can just jump right in and just test it from there. David, you had a question?
So I might have missed it, but how much does the funnel actually matter?
How much does the funnel actually matter? It depends on the type of what problem you're really solving, to be fair.
So if you're marketing like unaware.
Yeah.
Unaware or problem aware. Or not, is it unaware?
Yeah.
Unaware?
Yeah.
How much is that funnel?
So let's say, for example, I'm trying to teach people appointment setting and I'm trying to go over and I'm trying to show them like how I'm the guy. Let's say this is pure B2C. Let's say like literally McDonald's worker, I'm trying to get like the most amount of guys to think I'm the guy. The aesthetics and how everything looks does play a part to it in terms of getting the results and stuff. Like for example, if you record the ad in a basement and it looks dark and the lighting is trash and the audio is bad, your comments in that ad is gonna be crazy, bro. People are gonna be like, yo, how's this guy trying to tell me I can make 10K a month when he looks like this, bro? I'm sorry, bro, I'm not buying from you, bro. I'm sorry, the ads are gonna be nasty, bro, it's peak. So it's like with that, you have to show a little bit more aesthetics in a way. If the funnel looks nice, if the ad looks good, it plays a picture to that. Like for example, with that, like for example, still it's not he's wearing shades, he's doing what he wants, but it's not like he's shirtless in the ad and he's doing like random stuff. Not to say that doesn't work, but it's like because he's in a professional setting, there's cameras, there's books in the background. They're like, all right, cool, this nigga's talking about something, but it's kind of making a little bit of sense. There's something going on. So it makes more sense to do it for that. Like for example, with me, if I make an ad, it's like, if I'm trying to go after people who are also business owners, high level, it'll kind of not make sense if I'm in a basement and it looks like shit. It's just not gonna work. So it really just depends on like obviously what you're trying to do and your targeting. But generally just try to make some effort to look good in the ads because these are guys that don't know you, bro. So they're trying to take the piss as much as possible, bro. So yeah. Rafe, what's up?
You know, with the CTAs, do you usually do like a lead magnet or is it more like qualification and call proposal? And does that change depending on market awareness?
Yeah, it does. So I don't really believe in this whole thing where you're giving like lead magnets and shit. I don't really believe in that because it's just like, if you're going after a solution, let's say most aware people, so why do they need lead magnets? Like they know if they need something, they're gonna hop on a call and buy. So it's like I just give a direct CTA, just like what my ads do. But if, for example, I'm trying to educate someone, let's say I'm trying to give someone an opportunity, why would they feel a need of a reason to book in a call straight away if they don't even know if the opportunity can help them? So what you can do is you can be like, hey, let me invite you to show you what the opportunity looks like, and if it makes sense for you, purchase. So that's basically how it is.
Okay.
Perfect. Yo, Tafiq, what's good?
So how do you actually do like your market research?
So in your experience, what's the best way to
Go about market research. That's usually at the start. So if you don't have an offer, for example, I assume most people would have one, but if you don't have an offer, I mean I have a video in the program, so you kind of know what it is. But pretty much it's like you go to the type of people that you're really trying to talk to, and you just kind of you ask them questions and pain points about what they're struggling, and you listen to the verbiage of what they're saying. So if they're mainly talking about emotions rather than like let's say specific problems, it's a bit different. So let's say for example, I hop on a call with someone and I'm trying to think of an offer to sell, and I ask them questions and they're giving me technical reasons to why they know where they need to be. I'm like, all right, cool, this guy is not an emotional person. This is a more logical type of person. So my awareness is probably a little bit more logical. But if you hop on a call with someone and they're just complaining about life and they're just like, oh, I don't want to go to work today, bro. I've been here for 5 years. I just hate this, bro. Then you can be like, all right, cool. Like, this is a little bit of someone that's unaware about the opportunities. So there's a set of questions that I usually ask. If you just ask those questions, then you'll be pretty much fine to go. So yeah, yo, it's good.
You say there's a divergence in the quality of lead based on the format of the ad. Because we personally find like someone who clicks on a static picture
Yeah.
someone who watches the entire video is a different type.
Yeah, of course. Entirely different type of person. So that's why it's like, I mean, you have to ask your question. It's like just seeing more information with a video. It's like you can portray more things, like even vocally and not vocally. It's like, versus if you make an ad like this in this skyline, for example, in that sea with the drip going on, it's like, if you make an ad like that, it's like, that already speaks to itself. That's said 1,000 things already without you even saying one word. But it's like if you put a static ad, it's like they can only see what they see for face value. You get what I mean? So it's like there's more subconscious things that you can do when you have videos. That's why it performs a lot better and the quality is a lot better. So yeah, perfect. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So yeah, thank you. Okay, dogs.